Hello,
Yo,
everyone, and welcome back to Bommer and Griffin, the show where I have to do the intro 3 times because I'm moving really fast and I'm stumbling over my own words. Today, we're talking about Wolf Creek, and I don't know how long we'll be talking about Wolf Creek for because I'm just moving fast. What did you think of Wolf Creek? Did you like this movie? Have you seen it before?
what? I feels like on the podcast with fucking sports commentator. What the fuck? Slow down, man.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Moving really fast. I literally
Yeah,
just run home from work, guys, to get here to make sure this is out and this is going to happen on time.
yeah.
Alright, Wolf Creek.
Right. I thought it was really good. I very much enjoyed it, honestly.
Have you seen it
Uh,
before?
I had never seen it.
No.
No.
Now, Wolf Creek is a lovely family film about this Australian guy who tries to help people
Yeah,
out.
it's a very, it's a goofy film about three friends going on a wacky little road trip across the Australian outback.
It's pretty good. Um,
Yeah,
I don't want to jump into spoilers because I know there'll be some people that have not seen this before, and I just wanted to try
you
and
know.
briefly summarize what we think about it before we jump into spoilers.
No, I highly recommend it to anybody looking to travel to Australia. I recommend it to pregnant women and people
Pregnant
who are
women.
startled easily.
Why pregnant women? I don't get the joke.
Because they're not supposed to get startled and stuff.
Right, right. Of course.
I'm sure pregnant women would enjoy this movie.
I'm very sure that they would.
I mean, I don't know any. I watched it with my girlfriend. She thought it was cool, but she's not pregnant yet.
Oh, not yet. Are you working on that?
Not this time.
Not this time. um, Wolf Creek was a movie I seen once when I was, I think I was like 10 or 11 or something like that. Scared
I
the
know
hell out of me.
I know there's a sequel and a show. Have you seen those? Like, do
Uh,
you know? I
so
know you've seen the sequel.
yes, the sequel goes in a very different direction. It's a comedy first and then a horror movie. See the again, I don't want to get into spoilers. Look, all right, before we start
Yeah.
spoiling things, I really enjoy this movie. It's a great Australian movie. If you haven't seen it and you're a tourist and you want to come travel Australia, I highly recommend it. This is pretty much how things are in Australia. It's a very
Yeah,
accurate
I'm pretty sure
depiction.
this movie was literally sponsored by the Australian Tourism Board.
Yeah, I was waiting
Um,
for the like sponsored by the Australian government like ad at the very end, and yeah, didn't come unfortunately, which is a bit weird. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so I high recommendation from me, and I take it you really enjoyed it too.
I did really enjoy it. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
not. Yeah, I guess are we in spoilers?
Yeah, I kind of have to go into spoilers to start talking about anything. Um,
Yeah.
so yes, if you haven't seen it and you're still here, please go out and watch it. Come back to this later if you want to hear our thoughts on it because it's worth seeing. So let's dive into spoiler territory now. This is the part where you click off the podcast. All right. Why are you still
Right,
here?
I'm
Why are you
out.
fumbling with your phone? All right. Why are you even just come on, get your shit together. All right. You're better than this. We know that. Anyway, all right. Spoiler talk. So it wasn't public knowledge the twist that Mick Taylor was a bad guy. It it's how it kind of comes out of left field is the twist, I suppose. Like you're not supposed to know. He wasn't on the posters or anything. A lot of them were like the one woman with her hand reaching out on the road. I don't know if you see
Yeah,
that, but like a lot of the
that's the one
marketing's
they
that.
use on Stand,
Yeah,
which is where I watched the movie. But then the description literally just name drops Mick Taylor.
yeah, yeah. So for me,
uh,
at like 10 or 11, I had no idea what the hell I was gonna watch. I just was like, okay, Wolf Creek, heard it's a horror movie, heard it's Australian. That's about all I knew. And so when you see Mick Taylor, I mean, now in retrospect, knowing where it goes, it was so obvious. But I was just oblivious beyond belief. I don't know how, because I just was like, man, this Mick Taylor guy, he really is an Aussie. He's all right. He's looking after
yeah, no,
these guys.
this it is actually like I feel like anybody. I don't know if we have any non-Australian viewers.
We do. A lot of them are American and from India. Hi, guys.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, I watch. I know what you guys are up to. All right. I know what videos you
Yeah.
watch. That's right. I know. All right.
You know that browser history?
I know their browser history. All right. This is why you need to get a VPN, sponsored by
Yeah.
Blake VPNs. All right, I'm going into business. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, I feel like the actual like authenticity would be lost on anybody who doesn't know a lot of Australian people. But like everybody in this movie is pretty like solid in terms of like you would actually meet people like this. Like the
Yeah.
three main people are basically just your average uni kids that
Yeah.
like live in the cities. And then like those guys in the pub, you meet those guys everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then Mick Taylor is basically anybody who, like any middle-aged man that lives outside of the main cities. Literally all of them are like him.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if they'd go as far as him, but they are.
He
When
reminded
he's
me
nice.
of your dad.
Yeah, nah, he's pretty. Yeah, yeah. Just so everyone knows, Mick Taylor is my dad. Don't come around. All right, you don't want to see him. All right. Well, I don't live with him, but he'll know if you come and see me, and then you might not be seen again. Anyway, yes.
All of the like locations and shit all looked very like familiar as somebody who's like seen the Outback and stuff.
Yeah.
The shed with the dead woman in it, very familiar to me.
Very
I know
familiar.
that all too well.
Oh, of course. I mean, this is how. Again, it's accurate as hell. We know we're Australians, so this is what it's like. I had no idea about the Mick Taylor twist. All of a sudden, she wakes up and she's just tied up, and the whole movie goes through such a shift.
Like even like because I'm older than 11. I'm
what?
a few years even.
Bro, this is news to me. Holy shit!
So like, I could tell that he was gonna he was acting a little sussy. He might have been a sus imposter.
Yeah.
You sent me that clip that one time at the second movie, so I actually recognized him.
Ah, shit. Whoopsie daisies. Fuck, I
would have figured it out really fucking quick anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, for me.
But he's he's just like you meet so many people like that anyway who have like a kind of like off sense of humor.
Yeah.
They act like a little bit, inappropriately. But they're genuinely.
But we're genuinely alright people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you are.
I'm not, man. I'm beyond deranged. And so are the people that subscribe to me. I mean, I'm off my head. But I love you guys. Anyway.
I did like how this is like one of those movies where at the end you like look at it and you're like, wow, I think the villain was right.
Okay. He's walking into the sunset and you're like, fuck, this is just like Crocodile Dundee. Just a little bit, more R-rated.
He's like the Terrence Fletcher of camping.
Yes. But yes, I remember how much this movie caught me off guard. It scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. And then, rewatching it, from the moment he's, like, towing them into his place for the first time, you're like, yeah, he's got evil written all over him. And then when he's, like, just giving him the stare at the campfire.
That stare at the campfire is so good. Because it's halfway between confused and trying to kill him with his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't tell whether, like... Oh, yeah, no, it's fantastic.
I like to think that was the moment where he decided to kill them.
Yeah, he was genuinely going to help beforehand. And everyone he tries... Like, he's a good bloke. And he does... Every person he tries to help, he is trying to help. But they always insult him and his culture. And they just, this is a knife. Watch this. Spine's gone. So, yeah, it was great. When the movie started, I was like, oh, the cinematography is annoying the hell out of me. I'm like, is this way worse than I remember? Because it kind of started to look like it was a found footage film from the start of it. And I was thinking, oh, is this the movie to make Jackson watch? I don't know if this is going to hold up as well. I just remembered how terrified I was and what Mick Taylor was like, and thought, yeah. But no, as soon as Mick Taylor's kind of introduced into the picture, for me, the film just picks right up.
The he's introduced like 45 minutes in too.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
It's you get a lot of time of the three main characters just having their adventure basically.
Yeah,
Um, they go to that big crater, and
yeah,
it's like
it's not
that,
super entertaining, but
but it builds up these characters, and they act like you get to know them a fair bit.
yeah, they're not
I
like.
still couldn't actually tell the two women apart until the point where I was like, okay, that one's the one that's covered in blood. That one's, yeah, I recognize her now. She's
Yeah,
got a
they're not.
much more distinctive
Yeah,
features. Uh,
yeah. I guess the characters aren't really standouts, but there's
that
enough
it's kind of because
development to like.
they're not really standouts because they're just very ordinary people.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's just enough for you to think that these are real people, and you could know this person. You know, you're
Yeah,
not given nothing, but they're not
it's like
exceptionally well written. They're just kind of
it's
people,
like
and now you know them. And...
random people you meet aren't like wacky,
Yeah,
unique characters.
yeah, like me. You don't. There's not many of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit boring at the start. That's what I was thinking. 'Cause, like, I don't know, I was just kind of drifting at the first 10, 20 minutes or something, just trying to get into
Yeah.
it. But I do think it's necessary. It makes a very good
Yeah.
juxtaposition with that second half of the film. It's such a
And
blunt turn.
yeah, and it's just there's also like it builds up the male Ben as the like main character in the first half,
Yeah,
and then in the second half he's barely in.
yeah, he's
He
just
just
gone.
disappears, and it's mostly about the two women.
Yeah,
Um, and then the two women died, which I loved. I thought it was great.
which, all right, so she wakes up zip tied. She gets out. She frees her
Yeah.
friend. They grab his car. They trash his car. Then they try to get back. And I think at that point for me, the woman that helped free her friend, I thought she was the protagonist. I thought that's where it was going.
Yeah, no. The second half really sets her up as the the capable
Yeah.
female hero like you get in like Texas Chainsaw and
Yeah, I'm
Halloween.
gonna be the one to save my friends.
Yeah. And then she gets fucking destroyed.
I was sitting there and I can't remember like anything that happened in this movie.
So you didn't remember who like lived or died?
No, I couldn't remember whether everyone lived or died. I kind of remembered what happened with the guy, but I thought he died just wandering out in the desert. I didn't think he made it. But yeah, I was watching and I'm like, you know what? If I was Mick Taylor, I'd be sitting in the back of the car. I thought that's a good move. Just sit in
I
the back.
thought that was just a little weird as a move because if she didn't pick that car, she would have gotten a head start on him.
I suppose. And then at the same time, as soon as I thought, yeah, I'd get in the back of one of these cars, I was listening for a car door, and I never heard one. And you should have heard one. There's no way you could. No, that's not how it works. But anyway, I just thought it was great. He cuts her fingers off and stuff in brutal
Yeah, the
fashion.
scene where he fucking cuts her fingers off and then severs her spine. It's like, damn, that was that was when I messaged you saying this shit is pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's
scene.
pretty full on, like how much how dark it goes and how quickly. But I gotta say, I just love Mick Taylor as a character.
Oh yeah.
As he's cut her fingers off, he's like, "Stop bitching! I just took a bullet to the neck, and you don't see me complaining." Like,
Yeah.
something about him is really funny.
When the scene where she's like looking through the window and he's playing with the gun and like teasing her because she doesn't know how the gun works.
Yeah.
And like he's like, "Oh, it doesn't fire with the bolt open."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. I don't know.
And then he's just goofing around. He's a very silly boy.
Despite being an Australian, there's not a lot of Australian movies I like, but this is one of them.
He also values gun safety very highly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's something about the way that this Australian is portrayed that makes me proud to be an Australian.
Yeah. He also says that Sydney is the puffter capital of Australia, which I'm like, yeah, rep- go Mick.
I've never been to Sydney. I don't know, but
Nah,
yeah, I
sucks there.
like how just more tough he is with just the environment and how basically he's making fun of the fact that they're all soft as hell. These tourists,
Yeah. Mm.
um, and it makes us seem a little bit smarter rather than people that live on the bottom of the planet where everything's upside down and then we wake up and everything's upside down and that
Yeah.
their country doesn't exist most of the time. um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like a lot of Australian archetypes that people make about the country because we're all very different. But
I feel
this I
like,
like. I like this. This is good.
yeah, no, I feel like it's this movie because it's you know there's like this they're like having the party and stuff at the start, and then the rest of the movie they're in they're like crossing the desert,
Yeah,
and the desert is fucking like 500 miles of uninhabitable wasteland. There's nothing out there for
yeah,
like when their car broke down. It's like obviously like Mick fucked with it.
yeah,
Um, but like if your car did just break down out there and there was like it wasn't a setup to have somebody come and murder you, you were just actually on your own, you would be fucked.
yeah. You'd just be dead anyway.
Like their only hope was like literally like if somebody else came to check out the big hole.
Well, that's why I thought the guy at the end died. I thought a lot of what Mick Taylor
Yeah,
did and why he was kind of so loose with all this was that he was thinking, yeah, you can try run, but you aren't gonna last out there in the desert anyway. That's why I'll take my time catching up with you or something.
that's exactly
Cause I,
how he kind of acts. Like
yeah,
when in the car chase, he's completely just fucking with her.
pretty much. But yeah, I remember Ben dying out in the desert and not making it. I don't know. I think his name is Ben, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Ben.
Um, yeah, I didn't remember him surviving at all, and I suppose that's supposed to be how it was based off a true story, and maybe his part was reality, but with the girls, they both didn't make it. That it was
the
fiction,
The
so
true
they.
story, like it's essentially the connection is that there was a guy called Ivan Milat
Yeah, I was
who
gonna get
killed
into the fact
them.
that this story didn't even happen.
Like
No,
it, true story is no, that's it's very dissimilar.
yeah, you've got Ivan
Um,
Milat, and then there was one other guy.
I don't remember the
I
other
can't remember,
one.
but it was kind of a merger of those two plus Australian tropes that created Mick
Yeah,
Taylor. Um, and I know I'm like 18 minutes late at this point, but the reason I was bringing up spoilers and everything was to briefly touch on the second movie. Because you know the twist of Mick Taylor and who he is, and there's no surprise with that at all, the movie just gets straight into it, and it's a comedy first and then a horror movie. It's literally just like he's the protagonist. You're just following him having fun murdering people. Like he steals a huge truck at one point and just demolishes a kangaroo and just he's like, "Oh, sorry, Skippy," and like it's just a laugh riot. You've got a guy who's genuinely panicking and trying to get away, and Mick's just
yeah, nah.
yeah having a
Reckon
blast.
I will watch the second one at some point. Have you seen the show?
Now the show is a different thing. Well, it's not uh, entirely different. It's on Stan. I know that. I know
Yeah,
the
I
first
saw it
season
when
is
I was.
the first season's apparently pretty good. There's a second season as
You
well.
haven't seen it.
I have not seen it though. No, so I suppose that'd be worth
Does it
checking
have
out.
Mick Taylor in it?
Yes, same actor playing Mick Taylor and everything. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I would be interested in checking it out because I've heard that first season is good. But yeah, my experience with it is I know the first movie and I know the second movie, and I think I've seen the second movie more because it was just funny. It wasn't a horror movie where this first one, kind of genuinely scared the hell out of me as a kid. It's like I ain't watching that
Yeah.
again. And
I
I think
normally am not a fan of horror movies because I'm a little baby.
yeah,
But I wasn't really actually scared. It's more just like really fucking brutal and miserable.
yeah,
Um,
I think what because like I watched the whole thing and I was just enjoying it and I wasn't feeling as scared as I was. But as soon as it ended, just kind of uneasiness about like, yeah, he's gotten away with it and it's not over and he's still out there.
Yeah, the shot of him walking off into the sunset and then just like fading away
Yeah.
is very fucking cool because it's just like, yeah, he just disappeared. The cops never found him.
Nah. Yeah,
They
something
never
about
found
that
him.
and the switching protagonists and just how anyone can die at any point that helps make this story feel a little more real. That,
Yeah.
yeah, he is offing these people and the girl in the car ain't getting away.
Hmm.
Mad props to the sniper shot.
Oh yeah.
My man, he hit it good. Proud of
Oh
you, Mick.
fucking hell. Ah, sorry.
What happened there?
My cat just walked on my keyboard and I don't know what button he pressed, but it just played an ear piercing like beat.
Well, I didn't hear it, thankfully.
Okay.
So hopefully no one else did.
Alright. Well, if you
Yeah.
didn't hear it, it shouldn't have been picked up in the recording. If
Nah,
it's
it
just
should
on
be
my
good.
end.
Should be good. So, yeah, I don't know, something about the way that this movie is structured and how brutal that
Yeah.
juxtaposition is that makes this kind of scary. Like,
Yeah, the fact that it just basically snaps from they're just like going to sleep, and then all of a sudden she's just like in my shed, and it looks exactly like
in
my
your
shed.
shed.
Yeah, my shed.
Ah,
Um,
yeah, that's right. They used your house as the shooting location.
yeah, they shot it at Emerald
Yeah.
Drive.
um,
um,
this movie is.
but yeah, that was it's like a very startling moment,
Oh yeah,
and the scene where she's like cutting through the zip tie, and you could see how it like dug into her wrists.
yeah.
Out. Speaking of wrists, the fucking nails. Oh,
Ooh
that
yeah.
yeah, that was very fucking hard to watch.
I'm not sure how you'll go with the Saw franchise, man.
Yeah, no, that's why I don't really like. That's why I don't really
It's all about
feel like watching
the insanity behind the story that keeps twisting. Yeah,
them.
eventually you become pretty numb to it. You keep
Yeah, I
reminding
feel.
yourself, yeah, it just isn't real. It's just so phony. Um, Although you know what, I will give the Saw franchise some credit. Like, there is some pretty fucking like Jesus Christ moments. Wow. Uh, do you know who Roger Ebert is?
He hated this movie.
He did hate this movie. You know who loved this movie?
Quentin Tarantino.
That's right. You've checked it all out already. Shit.
I checked it on my lunch break.
Fuck, dude.
I even watched the first half of the making of documentary.
Fuck,
I was actually watching it before you called me.
dude, you're getting way ahead of me, man. God damn.
If you haven't seen it, that documentary is on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I love all that stuff. Well, you might know some of this stuff, but I know some of the people listening have no idea. But Greg McLean, he was the guy. McLean, is it McLean? Yes, McLean. Greg McLean. He he originally wrote the movie back in 1997, as just a Australian outback slasher movie. And he didn't really like what he had written, but when that whole Ivan Milat case came to light, that's when McLean decided to revisit the script and introduce the concept of a nice guy who seems like he's there to help you, but in reality is a murderer. The principal photography for this film was shot entirely handheld, which I feel is a bit of a double-edged sword. You've got that very close, intimate feeling throughout this whole film because the cameras are so close to the faces, and
I feel like it kind of makes the movie feel a bit like a documentary at times.
yeah, for me it doesn't work so well in the first half because it gives it that found footage film kind of feeling, but as it went, it got better and better.
Yeah, when it's like during the tense scenes, I feel like it adds to it.
Yeah. So, apparently, according to the director, the film is full of subtle hints that it's not going to turn out well for the characters like through the whole film. An example is in like the title sequence. There's a shot of the map with broom circled. Written just next to it is like to the right of the circle is the word die with D-I. They're gonna die. This is where they're going. And yeah, although it's based, or the advertising bases it on true events, it's not accurate. It wasn't based on any one specific event, and yeah, all four of the characters are entirely fictitious. Now, one of the cooler things, okay, it's not so cool, but unbeknown to the crew, the abandoned mine where they chose to film had been the site of a real-life murder of a woman, and the filming prompted protests from locals who horrendously thought the film was about those events, but the crew had no idea. And, protesting, it's a bit...
I feel like you should know if you're filming in, like, a murder mine.
Yeah. I don't want to know that story. That sounds terrifying. That's like like that mine in Grand Theft Auto, man. I don't want to go back in there. All right. Good times. Anyway, there at one point during filming there was an eerie coincidence, and again, if you've read all this stuff, you already know. But the crew that sent out to get footage at the Wolf Creek crater, had a real Wolf Creek Mick Taylor experience, where their car, what was it?
They all got murdered?
No. The location of like where the crater is was that many hours from a town that the crew decided to camp out in their car, and then during the night, a mysterious stranger showed up in a truck to investigate, and the stranger indeed looked very much like the character of Mick Taylor, right down to the rustic truck. The stranger left, but the crew was so spooked that they drove an hour down the road before finally stopping to camp for the night. They're like, this is exactly what we're filming, and I don't want to be out here. Can you imagine? You're in the car staying the night, and all of a sudden this truck shows up, and some guy like Mick Taylor gets out, and you're making this movie. You know how this goes. You're like, nah, I don't want to hear that my car's secretly not working anymore. So... yeah, this movie, it's so brutal, and it was so full on that at one point during shooting, when Mick Taylor is torturing Christy, I think her name is?
Yeah, Christy.
At the start, when the movie first takes its like huge turn, they wanted to get a shot of like Liz's I think it's Liz. Liz's point of view, like a POV shot. And so they cleared out the crew in the shed for the scene while it was being shot, leaving only the two actors inside. And when they called action, they began playing the scene. But after like a minute, like the director, McLean, became convinced that like Mick Taylor had gone like too far, and that like the cries for help were genuine. And he burst into the shed only to find out that both the actors were stunned at the disruption. Like, what are you doing? We almost had it.
Yeah, I like to think that they were fucking mad at him for ruining the shot.
yeah. Like, they're there, they're doing the scene. McLean busts in, and then fucking Christy turns around. What the fuck, McLean? We almost had it.
Oh, that was perfect, you dickhead.
Yeah. She's like, how fucking, what are you doing? just real quick. As hard of a juxtaposition as this movie takes. So John Jarratt, who played Mick Taylor, he remained in character between takes. Some scary shit, man. I wouldn't want to sit there, right, having my lunch or a coffee or something, and he's there sitting next to me giggling. Alright?
That laugh he does is fucking hilarious.
It's iconic. I love it so much. You should see how much he does it in the second movie. It's a great time. I remember it as a comedy. That's how I know it. So it'd be interesting to go back and maybe we'll take a look at that one week. Yeah, that'd be fun. So it was widely believed that John Jarratt did not shower at all for, prepping for Mick Taylor.
It's literally me.
But he debunked this rumor. Right? Like you do shower, right?
Yeah.
um, he- yeah, I suppose sometimes. He debunked the rumor back in 2016, stating that the truth was that he only stopped washing his arms, and the reason why is because the tattoos that were applied in makeup each morning took so many hours to complete. It was easier to just not wash them off and then to continue reapplying them. So part of him didn't shower, but I don't know how you shower without showering your arms. I
You
don't
just have like plastic bags.
like. So your arms are just made of plastic. I suppose you could.
You just like put plastic bags over your arms so they don't get wet.
I suppose you could do that. Would the plastic bags be big enough? You know, Mick Taylor's got those guns, so.
Oh, he's pretty fucking massive.
I just thought the scene of him leaning back with the shotgun, holding his neck, shooting at the car.
Yeah. Him one-handing the shotgun.
It was fucking
pretty
awesome.
Fucking funny.
That was some Australian shit right there.
Like, I think I mentioned that I watched this with my girlfriend. I was fucking laughing during that scene, and she was just like shocked.
She's like, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, she was quite. She was quite shocked by a lot of it.
Yeah. Well,
She didn't have as good a time as I did.
No, she was actually like scared.
I don't know about scared, but she was very put off by a lot of it.
Yep. Yeah, I guess you probably had no idea what the hell you were really in for, so.
Not really.
No.
Well, a lot of the movies, like a few of the Batman ones, she watched
Yep.
as well.
No, that's good. Well, that laugh that took like 4 months, I think, for Jarrett to get it just right, and he's like method acted the hell out of the role, which I don't know how. He's an Aussie. You don't need to do
hard.
much.
You just act like a regular Australian person.
Yeah. But he apparently spent weeks just living out in the Australian desert preparing for the role, and like
Killing hitchhikers.
killing hitchhikers in preparation for the fake killing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of the creepy laugh was all his own, and yeah, it took him a few months to get it, but you know he did it, and he apparently created a detailed biography for the character, although he wouldn't reveal the details to anyone of why.
This is personal Mick Taylor fan fiction.
Yeah, I think another thing that makes this film unsettling is the fact that you just have so much missing information. Like, yeah, okay, we made a mistake. Mick Taylor's actually a bad guy, but you don't ever understand why he's doing it, other than the fact that he hates tourists. Like, I get that people hate tourists, but not everyone.
It really just seems like he's doing it all for fun.
Yeah,
like it's not like I'm pretty sure he's not eating people.
No, I don't think so. But you know, I get people hating tourists, but there is a line where all of a sudden you've gone to, I hate them so much I'm going to murder them. What the hell has gone on in this man's head? You know, he surely has had family or parents at some point, and it just didn't start living on his own in the desert from, you know, the moment he was born. You know, and I think not knowing any of that information, that he's just a force of just, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, I feel like that was almost something I got from the ending too. How when he disappears, he basically just is part of the outback.
Yeah, it's like if you come to visit Australia, this could happen.
Yeah, he just like, you know, could just reappear at any time.
Yeah, it just makes you not want to trust any
ghost.
of us. Someone pulls up, hey, you want a lift? Nah.
It's just like, I might just sit here and die in my car, thanks. It's alright.
So, like Whiplash, the movie had to be shot entirely within 25 days. Apparently, there was only like a 5-week shooting schedule. And more interesting, I thought, well, I didn't think. I found that the movie was shot entirely chronologically, which is not a trend in movies. I don't ever really see
That's
that.
not very common, yeah.
No. Apparently the lady playing Liz, the one who lost her fingers and spine, she had nightmares about that laugh. Like, I can't blame her. I don't know. It's unsettling and it's funny. I like it more than I find it
Yeah, no.
unsettling.
Mick Taylor's definitely a guy you could like go to the pub with.
Oh hell yeah! It makes me glad to be an Australian. I know that I'm not
Oh
on his
yeah.
hit list. I'm not.
Well, I mean, he actually, I guess he didn't really seem to care if Ben died or not.
No, I don't think so. Well, the idea
He
is
just
that
kind of
if you
left
come
him
from
there.
overseas and you're a tourist, he's gonna get you. But we're Aussies, man. He's cool with us. We're
Yeah.
tougher. We live here, so
Yeah.
I'm not on his hit list. Mick's cool with me.
I also enjoy Rainwater from the top end.
Yes, that's right. That is how it is said.
I do like how he says that line to because they Liz finds the camcorder of a different group
Yeah,
and it shows that he uses the same lines with everyone.
yeah,
Which is pretty funny.
yeah. No, I like it. Like that whole tape thing again. I forgot about it. When she finds it and finds that his truck was there all the way from the start, he was stalking them before then cutting the fucking shit in their engine and then taking them back to his place. That it wasn't just he's out here, he's just an Aussie doing his thing. He hunts whatever, and then anytime he happens to run into tourists, he kills them because he just fucking hates them. It was all premeditated and planned. He's been hunting these fuckers the whole time.
Yeah.
And again, it adds to more of I don't understand the motive. We don't know, and that makes it all the more. I find this man unsettling. You know,
Yeah.
he's gone out of his way to try and do this. He just has. It hasn't been
It's
coincidence.
Yeah, it's like there's basically no information on anything about him other than like he used to be like a shooter on like a farm to do with pest animals.
Yeah, something
But
happened
that
to
might
that
not
man.
even be real.
No,
Like he might
he
be
could be
lying
lying.
about that.
Um,
But it's like there's no. He never mentions like what he does now, because then he'd have to kill you.
yeah, that is the most Australian line in the movie. I swear. um, so the crater in this film, it really is in Western. It's in Western Australia.
You know, I
Uh,
didn't quite realize how fucking massive it is until it pans out and shows how small the road is
Yeah.
compared to the crater. It's like fuck.
But where it is, it's in a
It's in a place called Wolf Creek, but spelt with an E.
yeah,
Like
Wolfie Creek.
Yeah.
I don't know
Isn't there?
how you pronounce it. Probably
Well, it's
one
still
or the other.
pronounced Wolf.
Yeah. There was the lightning during the scene where the characters see Mick's truck approach was real. Because there was a thunderstorm blowing into the location, which not only the thunderstorm, the scene where it's raining. Apparently, it hadn't rained there for like 20 years or something.
Yeah, it hadn't rained in 10,000 years.
10,000 years.
And then the day they come out to shoot, it starts raining.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh hell yeah, this actually like works."
And yeah, it's all because again that film only had a 5-week shooting schedule, 25 days to shoot. They had to just be filming constantly all the time, every day. And when it was raining, they're like, yeah, you know what? That kind of adds to the unsettling nature of it's raining in the desert where it never rains. It kind of gives it a more ominous feeling. But yes, the lightning was real.
Yeah.
Now,
I was actually kind of surprised to find out that this film had a budget of like $1 million plus.
yeah,
Because while I was watching it, it really just felt like something that like 5 people had made because they were friends and like making movies.
yeah, I'm
Like
not
that was
sure.
the impression I kind of got from it.
I'm not sure where the $1 million goes.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, the car.
Yeah, you could you wreck the car, like
They wrecked the
Mick Taylor's
car.
own car, and then you wreck the other car in the highway. You've got the harnesses that the girls had to be in when they hung on the side of the cliff, but that's not much. You know, a lot of it's just a camcorder and a car, and then
Well, they
you just
smashed
need a
up like
location.
4 cars.
Yeah. I
And one of the.
I can't see a
One of them
million.
was
Maybe Greg just pocketed like just a heap of money.
actually. I mean, John Jarrett's. I'd never really heard of him. Apparently, he's in all the stuff. Maybe he's a bit expensive.
He's in a lot of Australian stuff. He was in a I think it was a gardening show or something at one point. Dude, I just love the idea of like switching on TV and finding like better homes and gardens, and there's him like trying to teach me how to garden or
I
some
heard
shit.
apparently he was in kids shows,
I think that's true.
like Play School or something.
Bro, I don't know. Play school, man. I don't know.
That would be awesome.
Here's Humpty Dumpty. And then no, yeah, nah. Or he's like just on Sesame Street. Look, there's Big Bird. Watch this. Just
He
bolts the
fucking, like-
rifle and shit.
He fucking like guts him like a pig.
He just starts stabbing the fuck out of like Elmo and shit and laughing. Yeah, nah, we're bad. See, we're twisted. Like it's true. All Australians are like this. We just don't always all take the steps to murder someone, and even few of us like to rape. But still, don't come to her in here. We'll get you, or we'll send Mick out. Anyway, that memorabilia I was talking about that like Liz found, a lot of that is actually Greg McLean's family. Like numerous photographs are his family and friends and stuff. Just thought that was interesting. Apparently he plays one of like the cops at the end of the film, I think, or he's like a lawman or something, just in like the final photos and stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he is there. I mean, come on, if you're making a movie, you want to be in your own movie. Like,
Yeah, I really enjoyed the ending. We haven't really talked about it much.
no, let's get into it.
But I feel like it the way it ends with like the photos and the text explanations
Yeah.
really makes it feel like it's some kind of true crime documentary, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier, how the handheld footage makes it feel like a documentary.
Yeah, they really wanted to like, hey, it's a true story to, I guess, scare you more.
No, I
But-
just meant it's kind of like when you're watching like true crime TV shows that are about like actual crimes.
Yeah.
They're like they have similar things where they've got photos with text come up in like white text on a black background.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought it was
it-
too until I
And it
found
was
out
also
everything was fictitious.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, that doesn't bother me so much.
because I thought,
No?
all right, it's trying to tell me it's a true story and stuff, and then it ends with Ben getting away, and that must have been how it's a true story because he's told his side of the story, and that all he knows is that he went to sleep, he woke up, his hands like that, he got out, left, and then that was it, and he never saw the other girls again. So, in memory of the girls, the filmmakers give them the coolest story possible of them trying
That's
to get out, get away, and
That is the total. That's a really disrespectful way
well,
to
like
honor the
that they
memory of two people who
well,
actually
not
died.
not knowing what happened, you know, it could have been just horrible, quick, something like that. That maybe that this was, you know, them, at least they fought and they almost got away and tried to give them something, I suppose. That's just kind of how I took it when I watched it. But then I found out everything was fictitious, and it's like, oh, well, you should have just. Because as soon as I thought. Again, I thought everything at the start and then everything with Ben at the end, that must have been very real. Because those are the very grounded and kind of more boring parts. And then everything with Mick Taylor and the girls was like just full on like a movie. If knowing it's all fictitious, the whole movie should have been like that. Have some crazy fucking ending with Ben as well, where he just gets away or he gets killed as
No,
well, and then Mick walks
I
off.
actually honestly enjoyed the ending. How the only person that survives, he just like wakes up, he gets off with the fucking nails, and
Yeah.
he just fucking like he's out. He just ditches. He doesn't
Yeah.
even stop. Like he doesn't check around to see if the other girls are there. He's just gone.
Yeah,
Uh,
there is something a
And
bit.
then he basically almost dies in the desert. I thought he was going to, honestly. Maybe that would have been kind of a
You know,
cool ending.
I remember him dying. I was amazed when
Yeah,
all of a sudden he got
he
out. I'm
like
like, oh shit.
he like loses consciousness, and then there's a silhouette of somebody wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
'Cause Mick Taylor also always wears a cowboy hat,
of
so
course.
it's
He's
kind of
very
like
bowler.
brief fake out
Yeah.
to make you think that Mick found him again. But nah, he gets rescued, and then he gets drip in the ending
Finally he gets stripped out.
pictures.
Yeah.
It's a nice suit.
I do like it, you know.
Mm.
The fact that, you wake up just like that and then you just get away and he never looked and he was just trying to survive, you know, and then him not running into Mick again and just getting away with it. I don't know. It being fictional, it made that feel very real. You know what I mean?
You know, I
Some people
feel like
might do
that's a
that.
very realist. Like it is very. I would feel that this movie is quite realistic, even though it's not based on a true story.
Yeah.
It makes it feel like this is how real events could take place.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't end with him having a shirtless fist fight with the main villain
Yeah.
and like defeating him in a final boss battle.
Yeah, and I think I
The
really
only reason
appreciate
he
it.
gets away is because Mick is too busy killing his friends.
Pretty much. Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys, we just had an interruption, but we're back. Uh,
I genuinely don't remember what I was fucking saying.
Something about how it's real, despite it being
Oh yeah,
fictitious, like it feels.
yeah, it feels like this is how real events could play out.
Yeah, Mick
Like,
Taylor feels like a very real Australian. I think that adds so much to it.
and that's also I didn't hate the first half as much as you seem to.
I was
I thought
just,
that
I don't know. I was struggling to get invested. Like I was like, as soon as Mick Taylor shows up, then the film's just gonna pick right up, and it did for me. And
yeah, I feel like that it helps you really get to know and care about the characters because if they started if they started like dying off like a quarter of the way into the movie.
oh yeah, no, I get it.
um
It's very necessary, and it's good
um
that it's there. It needs to be there to provide, you know, how
and it
brutal
may
that other half is.
yeah and if you do actually care
Yeah,
then it makes you more invested in whether or not they survive when it starts getting
yeah. I
crazy.
found that myself. I
Because
was
like in
caring
a
about
in
like
a
fuck.
Friday the Third,
Yeah,
if you watch Friday the 13th or something, you're not like, oh fuck, I hope these nameless meatbags
yeah.
survive.
If you're watching Jason
It's like no,
X,
I want fucking Jason to rip this person in half and
yeah,
chuck him in a paper shredder or some shit.
we'll have to talk about Jason X one day. You ever heard of that one?
That's the one where he goes to space.
Yeah. Anyway,
I've
People-
watched a few of them.
I've seen
I've watched,
some.
I've
seen
watched
some.
them. Jason Takes Manhattan and a few of the earlier ones.
I've seen some
like
early
3 or
ones.
4 or
I think I've
something.
seen the 2009 reboot, and I've seen
I've-
Freddy vs. Jason, which I've really enjoyed that because that movie knew what it was, so it just had fun.
Oh,
But anyway,
yeah. I've heard Freddy versus Jason is a bit of a goofy, fun little thing.
yeah, no, it is. It's good. There was some real build up in the movies to that moment, and yeah, we finally got the movie. Anyway, we'll just keep talking about Wolf Creek for a little longer. Uh, um, I love Mick Taylor as a character. I really think he's like a classic movie villain now. You know, after rewatching it again, he's that effective. He's not just some Australian guy that murders people. He has some character to him.
Yeah,
The way he does it.
he really stands out.
Yeah. And the second
um,
movie really cements it. I do want to talk about it now that we've watched it. I'm glad we watched this movie. Yeah. I know it might not be the movie people were expecting. We were talking about or teasing some other stuff, but we've got a bit of an idea of what we're doing now. And yeah, we'll have to talk about the second Wolf Creek at some point. I'll put it down. You'll get it before the year ends, so don't worry, guys. But yeah, as far as Australian movies goes, this movie was immensely successful. In Melbourne, there's something called the Moonlight Cinema, and they confirmed that the screening of the movie at the time was the largest audience ever for an Australian film in 11 years. Like, or the 11 years that it had been running. More than 2,700 people packed the park, adding, you know, it added the picture to only like a list of only few sellout sessions. And yeah, it was great in terms of American dollars. The like $1 million production made over 15 million, which for this movie was great. For us,
I mean,
that's
yeah, getting 15 times what you put in is a pretty good return.
yeah. If you look at it like that.
Um,
There was press releases headlined, Wolf Creek is the highest grossing R-rated film in Australian history. For a debut feature from Greg McLean, that's
did this
pretty
come
damn good.
out before or after the first Saw movie? I don't know when that one came out.
This came out after the first Saw movie.
Okay, because that's also a classic Australian horror
It
movie.
is. Saw would have come out the year before. Saw would be 2004. This is 2005, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, this became Australia's highest grossing R-rated movie. It surpassed the record, which was previously held by Chopper, which came out in the year 2000, with box office achievements of like 6 million. So yeah, this toppled it. And now it's a classic Australian movie that you should definitely watch with the family.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I want to own it. I got to get this thing. It's so
Actually, yeah.
unnerving.
I wanted to mention this.
Yeah.
Actual fucking crazy coincidence, right?
Alright.
I was at work today, car wash.
Yeah.
In somebody's car, they had a DVD. They had DVDs of all the Batman movies, the old ones.
Oh, really?
The four we just talked about.
Oh, yeah. No, they are everywhere. I got all of them are 4K transfers. I got to watch Batman and Robin in 4K for the first time.
Oh, how was that?
Did not need it. Did not need it. It made anything that was CG really, really bad. Because you could really clearly tell. My God, I was seeing things in CG I didn't even know were CG. Despite the reception on those films, at least a lot of things were still practical for the most part.
There are a lot of, I guess, when they're a lot older, practical effects are probably cheaper sometimes.
Just like, they built sets.
Yeah.
Like even like where Poison Ivy's having a finale or whatever, and the huge plant like eats all of that's practical. All the water there, everything is there. Like you just don't get it anymore. Like everything's green screen, CG this, CG that. Like
I think, I've mentioned it in a different podcast at some point, but the behind the scenes photos of Marvel films are just boring as fuck.
Yeah, I love my behind
they're all
the
just
scenes
standing
stuff,
in front of green screens. There's no real environments. It's
yeah.
like the story's real.
I really wish the best thing for Marvel right now would be to slow down their production. All right,
I don't know much about it, but aren't there like CGI teams really like fuck?
Yeah, they're overworked as hell. You'd love the finale of She-Hulk, man.
Oh, yeah, I need my weekly check-in with She-Hulk. How's
I won't spoil it here. I won't spoil it here, but the show becomes very, very... fuck up, I'm spoiling it. It's not good. It became very, 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 very meta. And, like, after half an episode of... And this is
like,
the finale,
she just starts breaking the fourth wall or something.
Oh, she always breaks the fourth wall. I fucking hate it. But, like, that... I don't hate it. That is something the character is known for. But... it's how self-referential it was within the MCU itself that kind of threw me out a bit. Really, my only problem with it was the finale. Alright, so they've built up all these plot lines.
So you thought it was great up until then?
No, I didn't. I did not enjoy it. And it's not for the main reasons that the show thinks that I don't like it. There's different reasons. It's not good enough to defend at all, but it's not so bad that I just heinously hate the thing. It's just kind of whatever. I don't care. I don't mind the chick that portrays She-Hulk. She's okay. The CG's wonky a bit, and that's because the VFX
I've
artists
seen-
are worked to death.
Yeah, I've seen some wonky CGI scenes.
Yeah, and that's because the VFX artists get worked to death. It's like they haven't expanded the team, but they're asking we want 20 projects a year instead of 2 now.
Yeah.
And there's just impossible. There's some episodes that look good and then others that don't. Like they were literally finishing the effects the day before the episodes are released. Like it's insane. But the finale, right? The first half is all these stupid plot points coming together and just being smashed and thrown at the screen, and you're hating it because it's just stupid. And then She-Hulk's like, hey, this is stupid. What a horrible finale this is. Screw this. I want to go and talk to these writers. And then all of a sudden, it like logs out of like the show, and you see like just the Disney Plus home screen, and her like knock the She-Hulk panel out, crawl out of the screen, and then like the ring or some shit, and then see like the assembled section at the bottom.
So if you don't watch this on Disney Plus,
yeah, it isn't gonna make any sense.
Fucking person in the world.
Pretty much, but the only place to watch it is Disney Plus. Unless you pirate.
Ever heard of the pirate? Yeah.
Yeah. But she knocks the panel out of the She-Hulk one, climbs out to find the assembled, which is like where they upload their behind the scenes videos, to then get her way in there, track down, like goes into Marvel Studios asking to talk to Kevin, because Kevin Feige, and he's the man running stuff. And she eventually runs into a huge machine with the words Kevin written on it. And it's also wearing a cap like Kevin Feige does. And that machine is responsible for the algorithm that puts out all the movies. And She-Hulk's there asking about the X-Men in the future of the MCU and like, can you fix my finale? This is bullshit.
Sounds like shit that would happen in Deadpool. What the fuck is...
Look, it
what
just
are you even talking about?
Look, it
I'm
goes so
so
far off the rails,
confused.
right? But she basically gets Kevin to fix her show, so then she jumps back to her show, but then the climax is like completely resolved. It's like that scene where like the ambulances and the cops are there later and it's all over and people are going to jail. It's one of those, it just jumps straight to that. So you don't get a climax. You get, them trying to fix the shitty plot lines, but you still get the first half of the episode is those shitty plot lines. It's not a very good finale, and then it just kind of ends.
Confused. I'm just lost, honestly.
It's shocking. It's really shocking. Anyway, that's it's all right. It's still worth talking about, and I think I've said everything I have to say on Wolf Creek. I like Wolf Creek a lot. I'd like to talk about
Wolf
the second
Creek's
one.
Great.
She-Hulk isn't.
Yeah, I can stop asking about that now, I guess.
Yeah, the weekly the hell I've endured. Look, it isn't that bad. It's not that bad that I just hate it. Like you want to hate something like Captain Marvel. It's not worth hating and thinking about that much. I've been a bit unsure how to review it. I won't spoil anything, and I don't want to talk about anything now, but I have finished Better Call Saul.
I was right about to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have finished it.
Is your review coming up soon?
I finished it a while ago, and I've been just trying to get my thoughts together on what I think. I've got a really cool idea for the video. It's going to be a little bit bigger and a little bit funner. It's going to even have a little skit.
Yeah. But it's a classic. You haven't done them in a while.
Yeah, I'll do it for something special. The show definitely deserves that. But I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. Like, it's definitely incredibly well made. I've got to tiptoe here carefully because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Yeah. Anybody who hasn't should watch Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Right. They're wasting their time with this shit.
But I don't know. It was. I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't love the way that it was wrapping up. And
Yeah.
there's certain decisions and things that happen specifically with Saul that I just don't buy entirely. Like it,
Yeah. I reckon I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, just a certain
I
decision
sort of
with,
felt the same way.
yeah, it's a thing to do with like, man, how do I be really obscure about it? Uh, Years. There's a
Yeah.
certain decision he makes with years that
The
I look. No matter
I
how
mean,
much you want to turn around and be goodwill, the things that were happening did not match everything that I'd just seen. I really wanted all of Chuck's words and all of Howard's words to reign true. That no matter what he does, he just creates damage, and that he's not helping. And that's more
yeah.
real to me than kind of where it went. Everything up until
Uh
the mid-season finale, I was like, let's go. But
yeah.
as far as a
The mid
show hoping for a climax, it very
I
much
will
just had a
say
long epilogue, and
there's
yeah,
like it's like season 6 episode 9 where it like fully gets out of the prequel territory.
yeah,
I think like how all the prequel stuff plays out, I think that's all brilliant. I
yeah.
think it's the post Breaking Bad stuff. I'm not like huge
Look,
like not huge on a lot of it.
it's all incredibly done. Like it
Yeah.
feels just so fucking good. But I I didn't love it the way I wanted to. Something about like this high intensity and it building up, and then the mid season and all this, and I can't wait to see how they're gonna keep that momentum going. They just kind of choose not to and just drop it. You get the whole episode of the mall and the
Yeah.
guy robbing the mall, and
Yeah,
like in terms of
that
I'm ready. I'm in season 6 and this is it. It's ending. It just kind of it wasn't bad. It just slowed right down, and it like
yeah.
as far as I need to watch the next episode, that slowly died down as well. And then the ending is not bad. It didn't. I don't hate that at all. And as far as a character study goes, it's brilliant as like 6 seasons of here's a guy from start to finish a journey.
Yeah.
But
I think it was kind of bold how they basically locked the ending out of anybody who hasn't watched Breaking Bad. I feel obviously a lot of most people will have watched Breaking Bad,
yeah,
but people who didn't watch Breaking Bad first are going to be really, really confused.
I don't think so. I think this show works very well on its own. All you really get spoiled for you is that Walter White is dead. Now, I don't want to say that that's a huge
You just
spoiler. No.
spoiled that for everybody,
No,
man.
no, because at the
Fuck.
start of Breaking Bad, he gets told he's got cancer and he's going to die. He is going to die. He's either going
You're
to die of
going to
cancer
die.
or he's going to die of
Spoilers.
something else. He's going to die. That's just how it is. He's got cancer. And even, I don't consider it a huge spoiler. I really don't. It's just how he gets there. I ain't saying shit. Whether it's the cancer or something else, I ain't saying shit. And the show finished 9 years ago.
Actually, that was something I thought today, just out of nowhere. But it's kind of funny how Saul has been a protagonist for longer than Walter White was.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
Which it doesn't feel right
no,
saying that. That feels really wrong.
yeah.
Um,
No, well, I really enjoyed my time in the show, and I will review it. Consider this my brief review.
yeah, just tacked on to the end of an unrelated podcast. The best way to do reviews.
No, well, we talk about the movie. We have we've talked about this, all right.
Yeah.
We talk about the movie, and we have. We talked
Alright,
about
no.
Wolf Creek as much as we possibly can, and then I
Yeah.
just talk about some other stuff that's been happening. Any movies or shows you've been watching, and yeah,
Okay. I don't know how much this counts as a spoiler, but I cannot not mention that I absolutely adored the scene where all the people say, "Hey, it's Better Call Saul," over and over. That was
Yeah.
fucking amazing. I loved that scene.
Yeah.
If the show ended with that scene, I would perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah, honestly, that would have felt pretty good if it ended there too. But again, we'll try to steer
Yeah.
out of it a bit. As
But
far
yeah,
as Breaking
when
Bad versus
oh,
Better Call Saul, for me, Breaking Bad has it
yeah,
any day, and it's not like a huge quality change. It's the pace that Breaking Bad moves at. Every episode, I have to watch the next one, and it is increasingly getting more intense, more
yeah, I was
thrilling.
that way for a lot of season 5 and 6 Better Call Saul. I was like really fucking keen, you know. But then
Yeah,
as soon as it hits um
yeah.
the post Breaking Bad section for good, I I really just lost a lot of interest.
I thought
Um,
the show's direction was going to be that after like the mid-season finale, it was going to have a perfect balance between the color and the black and white scenes, and bounce between them back and forth all the way up until the very end, and then have them beautifully tie into each other and have like basically like the black and white turn to color or something, and now you're with it, or something like that. You know,
yeah,
there was a few moments where I'm like, can we turn to color now? There's a lot of really nice cinematography that I'd love to see a little bit more of. I get it,
yeah. I'm
it's
not
black and
watching The
white.
Lighthouse.
Yeah, you know, this was just
Half
hours and hours and
expected
hours of
Willem Dafoe to
yeah.
show up.
Well, it was, there was just a couple of scenes. Yeah, I can't talk about it right now, but
Yeah,
I will when I review it. Um,
you know, you've got to head off soon anyway.
I
So
do have to head off soon. We might have to cut this one short. Is there anything else going on, man? Anything you've seen lately you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
no,
No.
there's nothing going on in my
Wow. What do you mean? You got a girlfriend, dude, and you're not getting her pregnant? Not yet. Not yet.
life. Not this time.
Don't go all Mick Taylor on her, all right? I'll be very upset with you. All right, you're getting somewhere. I'm proud of you.
I should have turned to her and say, "Hey, we should try that one."
Yeah, right when what's it? Not Liz, the other one is just tied up and screaming and
Yeah,
shit, and he's there with a gun like bang. We should try that. That looks like
yeah.
fun. Anyway, uh, that has been Wolf Creek and She-Hulk and bit of Better Call Saul. Thanks everybody for joining us. Sorry if you've heard messages or bings or things in the background. Everything's been pretty flat out today, so please excuse that stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you all so much for coming and chilling out with us. I hope you've had a great evening, and I hope you subscribe or like the podcast. Come back and shit. Sorry, I'm very burnt out, but yes, thank
Yeah.
you guys. We appreciate all your support. Subscribe if you want to stick around and watch some more. Like it if you haven't already. Tells us that you like this and you want to see us talk about Wolf Creek 2 or something like that. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys. You're allowed to say goodbye, you know.
I didn't know what the opposite of g'day is.
Good night.
That still doesn't even sound like a way of saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
Goodbye.